Vision of World Peace, a poem by Sanderson Beck. When angels do descend to earth they call, let there be peace on earth, goodwill to all. Relating so they know the way that's best, in living love the Sacred Heart is blessed. Can human beings find that clear purity in using love for our security? Can we with our intelligent goodwill bring healing to a troubled world that's ill? When what is best the people truly know, they feel and think, and then they make it so. Each person does what she believes is right, for her to do by her own inner light. People don't act on what they know is wrong. They love something to which they want to belong. But if we don't love what is truly good, then we don't know the way we really could. Our love depends on whether we're aware, because we give ourselves to where we care. Thus, when we act by this limitation, the consequences bring education. Humans evolve and learn through interaction, always seeking inner satisfaction. For all to take responsibility, becoming wise with full ability, would bring to our society new birth, a living paradise set up on earth. Ignorant abuses must be prevented by institutions global now invented, for clearly people are not angels yet, so every need and problem must be met. To learn and grow without hurting others, we all must love our sisters and brothers. With all on earth as one big family, our differences we can settle happily. For common needs and wants are similar, our hopes and dreams are so familiar. To survive as a civilization, changes must come in one generation. Our greed, intolerance, oppression, and fear will not just magically disappear. But we can awaken greater love, sharing, communication, justice, and caring by working all together for the whole of the world and the good of each soul. We'll find a way to govern the nations, preventing wars, cruel abominations with effective global law and government, protecting human rights, environment, democracy, and due process of law. With peace and dignity the prophets saw. To find out where a peaceful world leads, let's start with just the basic human needs. Everyone surely wants to breathe fresh air and drink the water that is clean and clear. All people want to have enough to eat, with adequate shelter, clothing, and heat. If we want a peaceful world of wealth, it must be based on every person's health. For who would want to live with pollution when in our hands there is a solution? World, national, and local government can monitor the whole environment to keep the water and food chain pure, to prevent diseases as well as cure. All natural resources we can share if we discover systems that are fair. Every local culture can grow their foods to be supplemented by trading goods. Less land will be taken for raising meat so that crops can be grown for all to eat. Now no one wants to be killed in a war or be facing nuclear weapons in horror. We won't allow the military to kill civilians innocent of any bad will. And those who work in defense industries will surely rather earn their salaries for doing useful and constructive tasks that answer calmly when the conscience asks, am I contributing to peace and life, or does the work I do fuel greater strife? The sale of weapons we must not permit to any country, we would challenge it. No military aid or troops must go outside a nation's borders. And although we must enforce the laws that keep us free, it must be by the right authority. No nation has the sovereign right to be a police force in some other country. International laws can only be correctly served by world legality. Certainly people want to feel secure, aware that laws and police will assure us all that criminals are apprehended when human rights violations are intended. And people want their law courts to be fair, protecting the accused rights everywhere. People want their freedom of expression, of art and speech, writing and religion. Within these broad and universal rights, let social groups each live by their own lights. If all the world's peoples want these things, and since we have the technical means, that brings us to the social and political questions of how to make our ideals real. How can we organize society to fill all needs and safeguard liberty? When people have become aware of what is best for all and have found the ways that will work to make our dreams be manifest, then we will see that it was all a test for us to grow in love for all mankind and understand the universal mind. If we're to live peacefully together, then we must learn to trust in each other and have faith that human institutions can work for us to find real solutions. If we will work for social improvement, we can magnify our enlightenment, and thus the values that we've seen above, peace, health, prosperity, human rights, and love, require major political revision. Now look into the future for this vision. The basic needs of all are being filled. There is no war, and none are being killed, because the people of the world agreed that desperate problems created the need to form a democratic federal world government that would represent all. Every person may vote in elections. World laws and courts provide the protections for human rights, ecology, and peace. The living standard is on the increase among the poor and middle-class persons. Disarmament prospering conversions. Once a sufficient number of people learned that change and social justice can be earned by using methods that are nonviolent, we no longer were fearful and silent in facing up to violent repression, but started acting to remove oppression. Our moral power from an inner source was not intimidated by threat of force. Nuclear weapons soon became useless because immoral threats were powerless. No nation could maintain or justify its genocidal weapons with a lie. The treaties on nuclear disarmament agreed upon by every government proved that peaceful judicial processes can replace large military forces when backed by strong and active moral will that's pure and free of any threat to kill. Humanity's concern for its safety and for the long-standing misery of poor people and the environment inspired a democratic government to form based on a world constitution to keep the peace and find a solution. Peacekeeping forces loyal to the World Constitution enforced the law of world authority, replacing the nation's military forces' occupations. Threat of invasion has become so slight that now the nations have no need to fight. Disputes receive the World Court's decision, which is accepted by world opinion. Our technical and human resources lost before on military forces are now directed to food production throughout the world with good distribution, environmental cleanup and health care, renewing energy for all to share, providing everyone education, inspiring arts and communication. Nuclear power plants have been removed as natural technologies improved. While every person's basic needs are met, there still are ways for those who wish to get more money if we work a little more, take jobs less popular, or needing more training. Creating value we can sell to other people if we do it well. Most people now pursue education, spiritual growth, and celebration. We play in sports and learn new crafts and arts, but most of all we share with open hearts. There still are difficulties day to day, but now they're handled in a humane way. The few convicted criminals receive true rehabilitation to relieve the circumstances that did cause their plight, instead of punishment which isn't right. The difference between the past and now is that the good in people has learned how to use its power to prevent nations from using armies and corporations to exploit people, violate their rights, and dominate their lives with strife and fights. But now society is much more fair, for everyone is learning how to share and help the struggling with some special care so that everyone can be more aware.